Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk. And right now you're hearing music from my Accordion and Beyond Ableton Live Pack. It's a collection of 4 instrument racks with 42 presets, all made from samples of a 1960s vintage Musy Corvette accordion. All the music you're hearing right now, including the percussion, is made from samples of an accordion. And those are made into instruments you can use in your own music. Now, while this stuff you're hearing right now is rather exotic and interesting and takes the accordion to new levels, hence the Beyond part of the pack, I've also got more traditional sounds like this. And you can hear now, you can also reproduce some pretty accurate accordion sounds. You can get the Accordion and Beyond Ableton Live Pack by going to brianfunk.com. And there's also a free version that has just the accordion itself that you can get at my site, brianfunk.com, or by checking the show notes for this episode. Thanks a lot and enjoy the show. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm happy to say that on today's episode, I have Amadeus360, the Beat King, on the show. He's going to talk to us about his music. He's got a new album coming out called the MPC Jedi, and that'll be May 12th that comes out, right? And yeah. MPC Jedi, and as I speak to him, I can see, and if you're watching, you got some Yodas in the background there, repping that Star Wars thing going.
I didn't even freaking, yeah.
That's cool. But hey, welcome to the show, man. Good to have you.
Thanks.
I like your space. It looks fun. Looks like you got a nice little thing. Is that, I'm not sure, is that machine you're working with?
Yeah, that's all. I use all NI stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, everything's NI. Native
Very
Instruments cool. I moved over from a Kai product, so.
You took the jump from the MPC to, I guess, like machine.
That's what I've started on for years, but I've done a lot on this.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the idea with machine, right? A modern, updated version of MPC. That's cool. So you got this new record coming out. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? What's going on with that? I got to listen to some of it. It sounds great. Really nice production, great beats, great sound to it overall. Lots of cool collaborations as well.
Yes, it's 18 tracks. It's actually a lot more than that. It's 33 actually. But it was just too long. A lot of features.
Yeah.
It's like some Pete Rock Primo type, basically same premise, featured artists, with me being the only producer, right. Got a lot of, in the boom bap world, the ones everybody knows, and, a couple of new ones.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, that's cool. So, one thing that struck me right away is all the collaboration you're doing. I thought that's, it gives it like a lot of different sounds, a lot of different voices going on. How do you go about those? Like, in the world of music, it can be tricky working with different people. You got to balance different personalities and styles and ways of working. And you seem to have figured out a pretty good way to have so many people that you're collaborating with. I wonder if you had any thoughts on that process, working with other people.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, just anything that you've picked up along the way about collaborating with others, working together, and like how you maybe decide who to pick to work with, things you like in other people, other artists.
Just being, for me, I'm blessed to be in a nice little circle. So, the who's who of the game, you forge, relationships, you meet people, it's kind of weird. They know who you are and you think they don't know who you are. And they already have, cause a lot of the guys especially people that's made music, they've already had like, your large pros and your Pete Rocks, your premieres, your Ninth Wonders. And, I have very similar sound, even though I do it all. They see me working with a lot of their peers, and they see the circle that I'm in. At this point, I pretty much know a lot of people, everybody. But like, That's how that forged, and people like, if they've seen what you've done, it's a no-brainer. I don't really hear no too much.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
you got the reputation, and then when you connect with other
I have
people.
enough material. Yeah.
Right.
It's like a resume, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an
Yeah.
audio resume.
Yeah.
That's cool. So when you start working with somebody, do you already have a beat usually that you're working with? Do you start something fresh with them?
Um, yeah, with me, I mean, I'm always doing something. So most of the time I cook up from scratch
Hmm.
because I like to hear the artist in my head. Even though I'm not a rapper, um, I'm really good with the phonetics of something or how they ride a beat. And usually if I make a beat that's custom for that person, that they like it.
Hmm.
A lot of times just throwing beats at them and saying, "Hey, what do you think it is?" Just that there's something I've done already. I like to if you got a name on you, I would prefer to cook up with you in
Right.
my head as I'm making.
Right. Customize.
Yeah, that's most 95% of the time. Yeah.
Hmm. Are you generally working together, same room, or is it more like a kind of
Yeah,
a
the
yeah?
majority of it. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of product with like MOP for sure. I'm sure you picked that up on the album.
Hmm.
It just depends, like like with Fame, Billy's kind of far, so like depends. Like with the other people, yeah, mostly all in studio.
Right. Right. And that's got to be a lot of fun too, because then you guys can kind of make those decisions together and understand.
Yeah. All my stuff is done even with terminology. Yeah, it was all done in house mostly,
Hmm.
right there.
Right. Yeah, the style you have is really cool. It's got very solid, heavy beats, right? Um, the sampling is really cool. It brings a lot of the character to it.
Thank you.
Um, there's a grittiness to it, but it's still kind of smooth, if that makes sense. Which,
Okay.
which I think is nice in that it all kind of gels together really well. Um, I'm curious about like your sample selection, how you go about that, how you pick what you want to work with. Is it something that strikes you? Do you do like a lot of digging through old records or what the process might be for that?
I mean, in this day and time, I do have a massive, I have a lot of records, but it's time consuming.
Hmm.
To sit and I used to take stuff out and I'd have records all over the floor, because I didn't put them right back, and I'm trying to find that sound. But now, what I do is I'll either know what I have, or what I'll do is I'll make something. It just depends, man. I like to go to YouTube. When I switched over to Machine had the MK3 has the direct line in. That's just life saving.
Hmm.
No more of the even dragging digital files anymore and dropping them and messing. No, I just record right in, and I just pick samples that I like. I mean, of course, anything old school and soulful, or even rock, whatever it is, I'll use it if I like it. It has to catch me. I'm not too big on anything happy go lucky sounding. I
Mm-hmm.
don't seem to have an ability with that.
What do you mean
Um,
happy go lucky? What do you mean by that?
just like things that are just too happy sounding that it's um, a song that you might hear that has a lot of uh, you know, something going in it. It's too smiley, too happy sounding.
Hmm.
Like ska music, like
Yeah.
that ska, like I just don't know what I'd be able to do with that.
Hmm.
If I did, I'd pitch it down, drag it, time stretch it, chop it up, and then you wouldn't know what the hell it was.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, it's so cool how you can do all that now. And that's awesome that it has that line in on it. So you don't even have to,
Yeah,
it's
YouTube.
more hardware then.
Yeah, YouTube. I mean, I have the record. It's time consuming. I have the same records, or sometimes you find things online. Like I just used something from Swan Lake just yesterday,
You just come
and I
across
sent
those
it to
surprises.
Chip Fu from the Fushnikins.
And now you wait to see what happens. Yeah. That's got to be fun. I mean, it's opened up so many possibilities. I mean, you can just find anything on YouTube these days. It's kind of an infinite.
Yeah. You can.
You know,
Yeah.
it's even got a little bit of a sound, I think, too. Whether it's something to do with the way the files are compressed or something. So much about like the MPC was the sample rate and the kind of the crunch it gave all of those samples.
Mhm.
Even if you go to like some of the other samplers of the time back in the day, like that 12-bit sample rate, that's just
You
kind
mean
of
like the SP 1200?
yeah.
10 seconds worth of sample time on it? I don't think so. Those days are long gone. I couldn't do it now.
Yeah. Were you working on those?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. That's the whole creativity. You like Pete Rock, for him to have done what he did and Easy Mo B. You're talking about these guys were figuring out a lot of stuff to get that done on an SP. Especially then where sampling literally was the only way people did things then. To be using 10 seconds of sample time is crazy.
Yeah. It is. I mean, sometimes those limitations make you do interesting
Oh,
things.
no doubt. I mean, yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
But you're more
I
about
agree.
the new way of doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of myself in my music. I like to use tape machines and old stuff to get like a sound, but it doesn't take too long with working with that stuff to realize why we've moved on, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like what I love about being able to just directly sample directly in is if you want that sound, it's already there. Like sometimes I purposely look for samples that are cassette tape. Like people have uploaded stuff on cassette tapes. So why would you want to go get your cassette tapes and you can find it right there on YouTube? That's, because the art, you're trying to create the beat at the end of the day. All of that other stuff outside of it doesn't matter. So like I'll look for things that has a little bit of popping in the background, little scratchy that sounds like records, and I might keep it like that. And then other things I take them, and if I don't like something, I'll just filter it out. I usually filter everything anyway. But yeah, I love it. It actually allows me to, instead of spending so much time like I used to, you're looking for stuff, trying to come up with something. My ideas, I'll look it up or I'll play or I'll listen for things, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. And then I just record it right in and start doing the work, which is what's important.
Yeah, with all the new gear, all the new technologies, it's easy to get caught up in all that, and then you wind up becoming like a tech support guy rather than a music producer. So now for you, that's it. Just get through it. One of the things that was mentioned in the email about that got us kind of hooked up here was talking about like the boom bap type of hip hop and like how that's influenced in you. And I was kind of curious if you could just tell a little bit about that. Like what are some of the distinctive sounds and styles that work with that?
You mean as opposed to some of the new ways of doing things?
Yeah.
There is definitely a different creative. There's a serious creative edge in this particular genre, and that's why it never seems to go anywhere. It has a very dedicated audience. That it's real funny to me, just generation after generation stays on it. You see some 16-year-old that they're just obsessed and they really know their hip hop. And as far as like the sounds is, if I could get, like, I do drill, I've done trap beats, I sell those. I get real even creative with the drill thing. If I have to make a drill beat for someone, I still do it the same way I would do any boom bap beat. As far as I make sure it's creative. Now there's a lot of corners people cut. It doesn't drill and trap particularly does not require a lot to go on. It's very similar drum patterns, and they usually just have some kind of keyboard or eerie sound going in the back, and it's really designed for the MC to stand out.
Right.
The MC makes a drill or a trap beat because they're so monotonous and similar in nature and in sound. That artist is what brings that track out. As opposed to boom bap, it's both. You had to be a heavy hitter, spitter, and your beats need to be on point. That's just how it was, and how it still is in the genre. You can't have like a mediocre beat, but then the rapper just made it incredible. It just doesn't work that way with what I do. And if the beat isn't right, it just doesn't really matter. It just doesn't matter what the rapper does. It sounds like a great rapper over a horrible beat. But it doesn't really work that way in drill and trap because there's not a lot going on. It's a very quick and easy style of music to make. It's strange to me,
Yeah, it's not a lot of layers or much. Like you said, it's kind of pretty much something kind of going in there.
Right.
Usually kind of arpeggiating sounds on a piano or something. And then the production is very minimal. And I guess part of what makes it work for you with that style is there's just so many sounds you can sample. There's so much out there, right? Like you can draw from anything, it sounds like. It's a matter of
almost anything. Yeah, I mean, if you're creative and if you know how to use your equipment, you can only go so far. You have many people that they want to know, like, how do you have so many? You have to have talent. I know many people that are like, they could produce me under the table as far as what they know, but they have no resume. So, you take that with a grain of salt. There's a lot of YouTube videos with guys with asinine amounts of views, teaching techniques for MPC and I that look them up, and they have not one single credit worth a damn under their name. And they're teaching a million people how to produce beats. It doesn't really, it's great as a teaching tool, but talent, once you learn how to use your tools, the talent is up to you. And if you have it, and people will hear it. They'll come to you, they'll, hey, look, man, I heard what you did for so-and-so. Let me get something like that. And when you don't hear that over a time period, you might need to go back and reevaluate what you're doing. This is not necessarily you're talentless. You might just not, hadn't hit that learning curve of knowing what to do and not to. Sometimes it's too much. I've been there where I've done too much because, producers get real overly creative sometimes. and we get in our own head, and then, you got some famous rapper that hears and go like, man, it's way too much going on. I just talked to terminology about this very thing.
Yeah, that's something I've ruined so many songs overproducing, putting too many elements, too much ear candy, too much compression. You just, because you have a tool, you feel like, well, I might as well use this thing. I got this fun thing. And then I've turned off all these effects and brought my mix down to where I started and listened, and I'd be like, oh, wow, it sounds way better before I did anything to it. Be overworking it. That's something that's, I think, comes with like a maturity in making music, that early on you want to add. You think, it's funny. I teach English, high school English, as like my grown up job, and it happens with writing too, where people confuse good writing with like lots of words, where the good writing is the stuff that gets to the point and is clear. And I think there's a parallel with music where, it has to get a point across. You can't be distracted by all that other stuff. And especially, I guess, if you're going to have someone's rapping on top of it, that they need space to work.
Mhm. Well, that's why you don't you let another producer, um like I had, I had Kid Capri. He showed me a lot of stuff. Him and Nick Wiz. He produced for a lot of people: DMX, Cellar Dwellers, Rakim. Of course, he's known for the Rakim. And it's great to let a well-established producer, somebody that's been in the game a long time, critique your. It's what they if they make beats, they know what you're doing as far as the process. Hey, look, horrible snare, horrible kick. Why did you do it at this BPM? You should have. They're good for that. But at the end of the day, rappers are the ones that really you learn from, because they're the ones that rap on, especially the ones that do not make beats. They're the best.
Okay.
It's hard to work with a rapper that's already, like Fame, for instance. Fame is a phenomenal producer. And, he'll tell you in a second, nope. And that's the beauty you learn from him, because, some of MOP's biggest hits, Fame produced them. So I get critique from both sides. You're like, nah, Amo, too much. I don't like that. That's got too much. So I'll listen to him. But mostly rappers that don't make beats, they know what kind of room they need and what kind of space. And if you put something in the vocals that's going on, I've had many, hey, Amadeus, that's distracting me. And then I'll have some rappers like Rusty Jukes. Rusty likes it a little noisy. So it just depends. I just listen to the rappers.
Yeah, and you find that with less experience producing, they're easier to work with, that you get better results?
Yeah, well, yeah, because like how do you have somebody like like terminology. Term has produced several really big tracks. He did like his one of his more recent ones was with Paul Wall and Bun B. It's called Thailand. He did that beat. So he's extremely difficult not to work with, that he's hard on me.
Oh, okay.
But what I like is how he pushes you. Because if he's going to get all these big names and we're going to put people on these tracks, I did a track with CL Smooth, and it was CL Smooth and Paul Wall and Term on the same record. He made me do this track 100 times. But the payoff is what the product I got.
Right. So I guess there's a lot of letting go of the ego and listening to the critique.
Yeah, you can't learn anything. That's probably most people's biggest, that is probably the main thing that I noticed is, this music thing, is a lot of insecurity in this game. In any art form. And it's very competitive. And the one thing that you have to get past is you have to let somebody say, hey, look here, this is garbage. You have to let somebody say that to you. If you don't, if you're too emotional about your art and you've got this vision that only you can see, you've already lost. I'm telling you, I've been there. One of the first few things I ever played, I'm sitting with Kid Capri and he's sitting there listening to me, and he was like, what the hell are you doing? He was like, listen, first off, we need to lace you up with some better drums. Why are you using this kind of snare? Why are your hi-hats so light? That kind of thing. And then finally one day I played him something And it was the first time he let the whole thing play. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on VH1 where he like is in his studio and it's the one with all those kids, Ja Rule's son, kid's daughter Vinia, she's on it. If you watch that, you'll see how like when people come and play stuff for him, he lets it play for 2 seconds and he'll reach over and stop. But I went through that with him.
Right.
And then one day he just was like, I played something for him. I forgot what it was, but Nick Wiz was there. We sitting in the studio, and then Kid was like nodding, and I'm trying to pretend like I'm not paying him any attention because like I don't want his but he let the whole thing play, and then he stopped and he went, "You came a long way."
Nice.
And it was like after that I was off to the races.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all about letting your feelings get a little hurt. And I know a lot of producers, I've learned they just cannot stand for somebody to say, man, this is not good. I mean, I've been there. I've had people reach out to me and offer me money to basically lie to them. I've done Zoom and showed them techniques. Hey, do you work in machine? Hey, I've got 500, can you, I could PayPal you and I've had it where I would not even take the money up front. And I wanted to see what their attitude would be first. Because once they pay you, they basically start wanting to push you around. And I've had them argue with me. They've never made a record. They don't have anything with anybody with anyone. Yet what they'll do is they'll go into this whole thing about why they do what they do. And I have to explain to them, man, listen, man, that's your vision. And that's cool. But I'm telling you, to other people or the rappers, they're going to hear that and go, this is crap. First off, it's out of tune. It sounds weird. It's in the arrangement, it's in a space that just doesn't fit. And they get mad. So that's probably your number. You may be very talented, but if you can't let somebody crap all over your stuff, like I just made a beat and it's supposed to be Raz, Cass, Smith, and Wesson. And Raz went nuts. He loved the beat, just loved it. I was so proud. I talked to Ted yesterday. He's like, nah, that ain't it, Amadeus. They don't like it.
Yeah.
But Raz loved it. And he's keeping it for something else. So I'm in the process of making something else. You just go back to the drawing board. It doesn't even mean necessarily your beat is bad. But sometimes your stuff can come off either too old, sometimes too new. It just depends, man. It's a very interesting and it can sometimes frustrate.
Yeah, I guess you got to really divorce your feelings from your work and your identity too. I mean, because I think that happens with us a lot. We wrap ourselves up. Our own worth is like the project. I mean, I've had this.
Well, you listen to people that care about you. You got if you're in a place like I've seen before where you're talking to your 88-year-old grandmother asking her to listen to a hip hop beat. I've seen that. You've got your sister that only listens to Led Zeppelin. I have been through all of that. Like that's who you're, the kind of like American Idol thing where they tell these people at home they've had some kind of weird abusive childhood and they've taken up some art of singing or playing the guitar, and the people around them care about them. You know what I'm saying? And then they're like telling them, yo, go on American Idol. And then what do you see? Simon, they're like this. Like, you just have to accept that some things are just not for you. And you need to take the cues from the people around you. The real people, and go to people that really understand it and know. Because people will tell you anything. People will just say, oh, that's wonderful. And it's not. I've been there. I did it my damn self. Long time ago, but I did it myself.
Yeah, I appreciate the people that are willing to be honest with me and give me feedback. And I mean,
that's the only way.
There have been times I wasn't exactly thrilled to hear it, but you do have to listen, and most of the time I find they're right. In working with my band, I play in a 3-piece rock band. We're recording our record, and
All right.
I'm working on the vocals that I'm singing, that I'm already a little like, you're a little insecure about your voice. I know I am. And so I kind of drench it in some effects. And after hours of getting that just right, when I played it for the guys, they're like, why don't you take all those effects off? Let's just hear it clean. And I'm like, what? And so now I've kind of got like these two things I got to get over. Like, one, just the feeling of hearing your own voice, and especially stripped down. But then also just all that work I put in was gone. And after a day or two of sitting with it, I'm like, they're so right. I mean, it's completely obvious now.
That's because you live it in your own head. That's all
you live it in your own head. Yeah. You got it. But that's the only place we live. So it's tricky, and it can mess with you. But like the people that that you can trust are so important for that. That'll just tell you. And sometimes it's not even other musicians. It's people that just hear music, regular people, just music fans, or they have nothing, don't play instruments or don't produce. And they can just give you kind of the real, straight, obvious feedback. I can't hear what you're saying. And you're like, oh, that's kind of important. That stuff's important to have. So that's really nice, and I think that's probably why you've had so much success working with so many people. I think if you didn't have that attitude, you wouldn't have so many collabs on your new album. You'd be more of a solo artist.
Yeah, I agree.
So with this new record, are there any things like in particular that are kind of like new for you, or interesting experiments, or stepping out of any sort of comfort zone, or new collaborators, or just styles that you're playing around with?
I would say like working with Nims. I had Nims on my other album with Terminology with Rock Nation. He was interested because he just like, you don't know what he's gonna say. He's real big right now. He's got his store, the whole F Your Life, FY, he was interested. His delivery and the way he just effortlessly can say the illest stuff, and then at the same time be like just disrespectful. But it's like the kind of disrespect that just make you envy it, that he could just say it and say. It's weird, like raunchy, but ill poetry. I don't know what, I listen to stuff and it's like, I don't know how to feel about it. Cause like the stuff that he says, he says something about, I got a joint on there called Set It Off with Lil D. And, he's like talking about spitting on the woman's kids and stealing their sneakers or something. I mean, it makes you want his rewinded and like, what the hell is he talking about it and talking about, giving them COVID and stuff. I just dude say some shit. So that was a challenge because I was a little nervous. I mean, about giving him this one. The one that he did for me before on my previous album, the beat was a lot simpler. I actually cooked that right up in front of a bunch of people. Fame was there, Teflon, some of the MOP guys. There was a lot of people there. Because where I record is right next door to Static Selector. I recorded Terminology Studio, and that's his label mate with Rock Nation. So, they got Shade 45 Radio, the Show Off Radio. And so there's always a lot of people. Like I was in there, Joey Badass just walks in. It's crazy. Like somebody's listening they're listening to my music, and the door just slides open real slick. They peek your head in, it's Joey Badass. He's like, yo, that's you? I'm like, yeah, that's me, man. Appreciate it. It feels good, man. But it's challenging depending on the artist. because especially if they real picky with the beats.
Yeah.
I made this one and he took it.
Just hit a home run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the pressure too. I mean, doing it in front of people with an audience, like a lot of times, I think many producers kind of have the comfort of their own home or their own studio where they can do it, refine it, get the ugly parts out, work on it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're a master of what you do, it's as long as it's the same equipment you use. For me, it's nothing. You can't put me on the spot and I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, because you have to understand, it's like any tool. You have to know how to use the tool, and not every, using Logic or some people just be producing Pro Tools or so. If you don't know how to use those programs, that's going to be your only. But if it's the same, type of equipment you already use, it's nothing. I'm not afraid to do nothing. I definitely could easily, you could pull me any record. Long as I can know how to use the machine, I'm good.
Right. I think that's the most important thing. And I say this a lot, and we talk about this a lot on the podcast too. It's not what you have, it's what you know how to use. You can get all the fancy gear. And I've fallen for this a million times where I think I'm going to get this new thing and then my hits will come. It's going to be the magic thing. But it's always just what you know how to do, what you're comfortable with.
I mean, I talked to Preem one time. I asked Preem what he was using, and Preem told me, and he was like, I don't like getting new stuff and then having to learn it.
Yeah.
This Premiere we talking about. Like, people think it's the equipment. No, I mean, if you've got an old rusty guitar that you've already made 1,000 hits with, you go pick that rusty guitar up. You know how it feels. You you become one with that guitar. Because the MPC literally an instrument. And I don't do any corners. I don't cut corners. I do everything manually. I don't do any auto programming. I do none of that. None of that. I do everything by ear. So, I see it as an instrument. And when I put my samples in there, it's for me to get really creative. And I don't see creativity in auto nothing.
Right.
I just don't. I don't see how, because to me, auto means something's doing something for you. You understand? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, you're not putting your touch on it. You're just kind of rolling with something spits out. There's a lot of that going on these days. I think more and more we'll see that.
We living at a time where everybody wants to. It's not even about the music. It's about people wanting to be seen and heard. Being famous is the new currency. It's just strange to me. I'm from where hard work, talent was just all it was. I mean, if you couldn't rap, you couldn't rap. If you couldn't sing, you couldn't sing. If you did and you were incredible, you got a lot of praise for it. And if you didn't get looked at all. You didn't even get an opportunity. You understand? And that's what production was like. And it really sucks when, somebody buys a whole kit and, they're making drill beats out of a kit that's already there for you. You may arrange it differently. It's just strange to me. And I don't call that art at all. I don't.
Well, you make a good point. I mean, if you go back only a couple decades, you don't even get into the studio to do anything unless you have that level of skill. Now everyone can get it. You get an iPhone and you can get, I think they have Machine on the iPhone, don't they? Like iMachine.
They do. Yeah.
I mean, you can get, I know there's an MPC, there's all this stuff. And then there's other stuff that's just kind of more pre-packaged where you can just throw things together that are already made. But if you go back not that long ago, you don't even get in there without that skill first because the cost was so prohibitive.
Yeah, even a couple of decades. This ain't even just it's strange to me how quickly we've come from 2015. 2015. It was some things that were just that like now have just been invented. I just saw a thing the other day where they have AI technology making beats and music, and they literally, I just heard a Drake song. It's not out, but it was a Drake song. They asked the computer to formulate a Drake track with Drake on it, and the computer made it.
Right.
And it just blew my mind because I'm thinking to myself, we're coming to a point where you don't know if somebody painted something. You don't know if somebody actually sang something, if they made the beat, because this AI technology is making it possible for the computer to come up with stuff that's fooling people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if what you're looking at is real. And I don't know where the fun is in that. I personally don't get it. You know, I thought you're supposed to learn how to do something, and you get that nice pat on the back and a little check.
Yeah, I think even as the listener, I was on an Instagram, I think, that had all of these songs with Kanye West on it, but it wasn't him. It was just the voice. And I've seen YouTube videos with like President Biden, President Obama, President Trump playing like Call of Duty against each other, and they're cursing each other out, and it sounds like them. And same thing with the Kanye, and like, but with the videos with the presidents was kind of funny to watch, but the music stuff was kind of like I didn't listen to the whole track of any one of them. It was just kind of like, yeah, it sounds like it would have fooled me if someone said like, hey, this new track. But I don't know if it was just myself knowing that it wasn't real, or if there's something else maybe on a subconscious level that detects that it's not real. But it was just this kind of weird feeling of like, yeah, it's neat, but then change it, get it off. Like you said, I guess it's not art. It's a different kind of art, maybe for computer programmers, for the people designing this stuff, maybe AI itself. But it didn't touch me the way art does and art can.
Well, I mean, if you know better, especially if you're a person that's organic, if you're a person that grew up with organic feeling anything, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you pick up on the fakeness of something very easily. Mm-hmm. It's really, really young people, I'm talking teenagers, that don't know the difference because they don't know anything else. They see things. Also, their vision is very different. I talk to them all the time. I was just with, I was in Boston. I was with Ari the Rugged Man, Onyx, a bunch of people. And, I talked to some of the young rappers, and their vision is it's a totally different vision. When you're 16, 18, they see things in a very superficial way, of course. And even when they tell me how they've got this passion, it cracks me up, because it's like, one thing that's so different is being talked to by a 15-year-old like you know nothing, and they like they're telling you. I had a kid argue with me about why Biggie was better to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and not LL, when they picked Biggie first instead of LL. And I mean, he was so passionate about it. And he like ran all this stuff down to me. And I said to him, I'm going, where'd you learn that? He was like, oh, I read stuff on Wiki. He's telling me about something I lived.
Right. Yeah. You were there.
And yeah. I don't argue with them, or anything. I listen to them. It does make me, it's strange, man, because I came from a time where when people drop jewels on you, you got real quiet. You knew already what the game was when they told you, hey, listen, this is Peter Frampton, right? This is where Roger Troutman, got his whole style of what's the thing he put in your mouth?
Box. Yeah.
The talk box. And you learn from that. Somebody taught me, hey, this is Peter Frampton. This is really where Roger Troutman picked this up from. And he took it and he made it soulful. Now we got More Bounce to the House, Computer Love. Hey, this is Marvin Gaye. This is James Brown. This is Funky Drummer. This is what we're doing and what this is why you should respect this. You know, all of that is dead, man. They don't want to hear it. They say they know already. So I stop arguing with them. But then you can hear the robotic mindset and music they do. It sounds all the same. And I come from a time where everything was completely different. Even in hip hop, you're talking about night and day artists. A Tribe Called Quest was absolutely nothing like Gang Starr. You understand me?
Yeah.
Outkast was nothing like Black Moon. So, you know, it's just strange, man. It's odd.
I think about this a lot, you know, in some of the old music that I love that's before my time. And in how, like, I know what happened after it when I hear it for the first time. I know what came next. I know I have the big picture, the overview, you know, the drone shot of the landscape. But for the stuff that I was around for, it's like, this is the new thing. You don't know where it's going next. So it's really hard to judge anything like that without being, because it's all a product of the time period and what's been happening. And when you look back, if you are a young kid, and you know, no fault to them, they're just young, they weren't there, but they just can't have that experience of like, this, you didn't get to hear this. They don't, you know, they've already heard the artists that are coming out now that they like, but they don't get to hear the progression. They have to go backwards to hear it. So the story is told in reverse for them. I wish I could have been around for just like feeling what every generation of the artist was when they first came out.
Well, that's the thing though. The thing is, like, music from the 1920s, it's just technology was different. Then when the 50s came and rock and roll and blues, and as far as the way the music was made, as far as what it required, as far as talent, what you knew how to do, you know, of course things progressed because of the technology. So there were better ways to record. You know, we went from mono to stereo and those little things, or there may be better ways or some equipment that came along. But as far as the technique, a guitarist still walked in that studio and, you know, Jimi Hendrix played the guitar the same way that a Muddy Waters would have played the guitar. Two different generations. You understand? So it's for, you know, knowing that, like, I watch it now and it's not that. It's not that at all. There were no cheat codes back then for none of these artists. Now they're cheat codes. You know, they're cleaning up girls' vocals. You know, she can't sing, but she's gorgeous to look at. So they say, hey, look, she can hold a tune. We'll just clean her up. We don't require her to be a great singer, you know, because she, you know, she looks great. And she can, you know, do good enough. So we'll just fix that for her. Instead of her being a Whitney Houston or a Mariah Carey. They had to blow it out of the water or they wasn't getting paid. Nobody would listen to them. They're remaking stuff. I don't know how big you are. I listen to everything that's out and I hear nothing but a regurgitation of what they're making remakes of remakes. I just heard a trap beat or a drill or trap beat. It had SWV right here, right, with the Michael Jackson from Human Nature. They remade an SWV, and that's what SWV had already done, but it was original when they used Human Nature.
Right.
When they put a hip-hop beat over their music. It was original. Now I'm hearing a trap beat of them remaking a remake.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? I heard this also in Lotto, a Lotto beat. They're just taking stuff and they're recycling something that we didn't recycle, we redid it. Because it was in either an R&B song and we knew how to chop it up, filter it. It sounded completely new and you just could hear the element of it. Now they're just ripping stuff off and putting it into the beat. It's weird, bro. I don't want to sound like some stupid old man, but this shit just blows my mind, bro. I know personally some of the greatest producers on the planet. And to see this, it's scary.
Hmm. You got me thinking, like, I wonder if it's just like a bigger thing that's happening across all kinds of medias. I mean, I just
It
saw a
is. It is.
commercial for
It is.
Fast and the Furious 10. Like, what
It is.
franchise ever got to the 10th installment, years ago? There were just new things coming out. It
Yeah,
seems
it
like,
is. It is. Did you see there was this new painting technology where you literally talk to the computer
hmm,
and tell it to draw things and paint something. And it paints it for you. And I saw this guy, he sold some kind of digital AI photo of Kanye. It's some weird like photo of Kanye West. He talked to the computer and just told the computer to come up with something and sold it on eBay for thousands of dollars. And the man was mad because he found out he didn't paint anything. The computer painted it. There's
right.
another part of AI where I watched it on 60 Minutes. He said photos of golden retrievers or Labrador retrievers with wings on them. And this computer generated that.
Yeah.
And you would have never known a human that do it. So this is where we are, bro. But I'm not doing it.
Hmm.
I'm keeping it the way, we were supposed to do it.
I think there might be a blowback coming where I hope, at least, I want there to be, where people start to like say, hey, this stuff, we've gotten so far with this, and then just look back and like, they were playing that, they made that, they did this with their hands. There's something to it that's special, that's real, like organic, like you said. And maybe this stuff that we're having the computer spit out for us is just not where it's at. I'm
Well, you
hoping.
know what the problem is really, I'm gonna be honest, I know where this is coming from. It's the streaming services.
Okay, how so?
I'm telling you, they're at the root of this problem. We're in a market where the music is being pushed. I mean, first off, we have access, to stuff
Right.
like never before. You walk around with your phone and
Any
the
song ever.
problem is because of the competitiveness. First off, you got people that are garbage that are putting music up on they've saturated the market. Like I say, at one time, if you didn't come with the talent, it's just you were not being heard. Like you said about the studio, you couldn't even get in a studio. Now studios are everywhere and they're cheap. You got these studios, I've seen them for $20 an hour. Stuff like that. Everybody wants to be somebody. Now everybody's doing their own videos. The technology has made it very accessible for you to be famous for nothing. And TuneCore is now, as far as music is, you got DistroKid and TuneCore is saturated with thousands and thousands of artists that are putting themselves out there that have no talent, but they may have a couple of pennies to rub together to push themselves. So what happens is artists that are real artists, real producers, real rappers, real singers, that could have got a deal, 30 years ago easily, they're being pushed in the background or in a competitive market with tens of millions of people putting content online about nothing.
Drowned out.
They're drowned out, and because now it's about being somebody. And that's why everybody does what those videos you see where the girls do the dance and
Like
the
TikToks?
heart and they wink and do the. I like that too, but it's not a real talent to do a little dance in your bedroom. You got a nice body. She's getting 15 million views, and I get 300. So because guys, we want to see that. Sex does sell, but at the same time, you're being drowned out about a lot of talentless stuff. And then TuneCore, and they're making these platforms for guys that couldn't get a record deal to save their life. Well, now they just make their music and they push it themselves.
Right.
And then the streaming platforms are available to everyone. So even when you have a record deal, you are like myself, you are still competing with amateur markets. So it's interesting, man.
Hmm. Yeah, I have like mixed feelings on this, you know, like on one hand, it is pretty cool that anybody can put their stuff out there. You don't
No, it
have that.
sucks. No, it sucks.
it,
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks because that's where you get this self-absorbed attitude from these younger guys that are like, he's okay. So let me get this right. I got Nims and you got little Shay Shay off the block from your neighborhood, and you got a record on you on TuneCore.
hmm.
I got a deal and I got a famous MC. And they swear to God we're in the same league. Trust what I'm telling you. Trust what I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I get this every day. I
Right.
had guys that hit me up, talk to me in my DM. It's fascinating, man. I had one guy, he told me, people don't understand guys like us. We're in a league of our own. And I thought I knew the guy. I'm like, who is this? I go look at him. He's got like 128 followers. He's in his mom's basement, in his drawers making beats that are horrible. But this is the kind of climate we're in. People don't really have respect for true artistry and people that have put in the work and they have talent and they've made it happen for themselves.
Hmm.
That's not really something people feel now. Hey, whatever happens, happens. Who cares? Like the guy that did the Fleetwood Mac commercial with the ocean spray, or
Mm-hmm.
not commercial, where he
Yeah,
did a video
the
where he was on a
TikTok, yeah.
skateboard. I mean, the guy's famous, man. He's famous for
Hmm.
that. For drinking ocean spray while on a skateboard to a song.
Hmm.
So how do you compete with a gimmick? How?
Yeah, it's a shame that it's the same market. It's the same platform.
It's the
Yeah.
same, right? Correct.
Like maybe if it was somewhere else, like kept to the
I
side
mean,
or
I'm not gonna lie. I do get a lot of young cats and make comments on my videos, and they tell me oh man, I wish I was born at this time period and I could have, or I'm like, oh, I'm so sick of this trap and it's just monotonous. I do get that a lot, and I think that's helped to the resurgence of boom bap so much.
Hmm.
You got, the same olds and my boy Rass's sons, Coast Contra, that was on Jimmy Fallon.
Hmm. Cool.
Now Coast Contra's, they're doing my stuff is what they're doing, and they're doing a really good job, and they're very young. You got a lot of really young and great artists out there that are pushing this genre of music because they understand it and they know the organic sound, that it took some talent to make the music.
Hmm.
And it feels good, man. I got mostly young people buying me, not older.
Hmm.
It's mostly youth. All my fans, they're younger.
That's a good sign. Maybe that blowback is brewing a little. I guess like not too many things are, from what I see with younger people and just the culture, there's not as much what is the word I'm looking for? It's like a commonality thing, right? Like it used to be like Thursday night, this was on TV. Did you see that? Yeah, we watched that too. Everybody watched it. Everyone heard what was on the
Yeah, you mean
radio.
that individuality is here now, right?
Yeah. Now everyone gets their own version of everything. And
But at the same time, they stick to the same methods, though. Like that's what trap and drill. They're very the same old, same old. They don't deviate in that way though. They're still doing
mm,
a little dance where they kick one foot and the 146 BPM beat with the hi-hats going, and so like they don't deviate in that way though, and they
mhm.
still talk the same kind of lyrics. I wondered when I saw Blueface. Yeah, man, that really was. I'm wondering. It made me wonder when I saw this Blueface stuff. Okay, so I said, and I had to ask, like, yo, listen, how old are you? You 18 or 19? He's like, yeah. Well, what's this Blueface thing about it? He says like he's not rapping on beat at all, at all. And he's like, it has nothing to do with the music. It's the image of the artist. So I said, well, why are you making music? He's like, well, the music is the background of the artist.
It's the vehicle.
He said he's selling his image. So I still don't get it because I thought you just bought people shit because they were dope. But from what I'm learning, I got a lot of cats that produce a lot of, that really, I had a friend, he had done stuff for Pop Smoke, that whole, especially I'm here in the NY, the whole NY drill scene. They definitely are carving out their own lane, and there were rules and they just don't exist anymore. Preem, I'm sure Premier was huge on, he's big about talking about the rules of the game. Them rules don't exist. They just don't.
Yeah, one of the tracks, I forget which one now, but one of them, there's some lines about fame, doing it for the fame, and like just the difference of how things were, that I thought that really stuck out to me.
On mine?
Yeah. On this,
maybe it's Panic.
Well, it would be
Repanic with Billy Dance, probably.
Yeah.
He's talking about the gimmicks in the game. That's on my DeMar Warren. It's called Repanic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because it's kind of like the wrong prize, the wrong purpose, the wrong thing to drive for. And if it's just about being famous, whether it's because you're doing a dance or you're drinking ocean spray, then, or just like you said, I don't even know Blueface. I never heard of that, but this idea that like it's just the image and the music is just kind of a thing, like it's a vehicle to get through. It just gets you on there, gets you in front of people. It changes. I guess the question is like, what is the reason for doing it in the first place? And if it's just for the fame, then it's no wonder we're seeing this kind of diluted art as a result.
I don't want to harp on this too much because you don't want to, I don't want to, be like I'm not old and I'm not washed up, obviously. I do want to say this for your audience. Imagine, one thing I learned about this life, everybody want to be validated. There's nothing like either your pops, your mother, whoever. I don't care who it is, whatever was significant. Imagine you work really hard at something. Let's say a race, right? A runner or something. And you got up every day at 4:30 in the morning and went out to this track and sprinted, and you're jumping those hurdles and you're just fast. And then one day somebody sees you and like, you are incredibly talented. How did you get this fast? Hard work. And then they go, yeah, hard work, but you also got a talent and it's special. And they say, hey, look, we're going to put you in this race. And some of those people in this race are amateur as hell. They don't run very fast. When you're like, well, why are they even in my league or competing with me? Well, just because we put them there. And then, of course, that day comes and the race starts off, and they put the little flag or the gun or whatever shoots off, and you take off. You look behind you, they're all behind you. Next thing you know, like nothing, because of your talent and hard work, you won. And then you come around, and when they give you, they're about to give the prize out, instead of them calling you up, they call this lazy fat motherfucker right here that was last and bring him up and put his arm up. And you go, what the fuck is this? I won. Yeah, but we like this guy. He's got potential. He's kind of weird. He gets attention. That's where we are with everything right now. You got motherfuckers getting shit off lint collections. Somebody with a lint collection on TikTok. I got the world's biggest lint ball. And they're like, well, fuck Amadeus though. He's doing some time. It's just this is really where we are, bro.
Yeah.
You understand me? They're putting a weirdo, putting his arm up saying he's great, he's awesome, and he's not. And the ones that have the talent, that put the hard work in, they're the ones people are like, really like, hey, you're all right. I mean, I know you're great, you've done some stuff, but we kind of like this guy. So that's what your audience should take away. You have to pick and choose where your heart is, man, with this shit, because believe me, I mean, I've made some headway, and in the beginning it was a little hard, man. And then when I started selling and making money and, working with my dream artists, you're shooting videos with people, 10 of the artists that Eminem named at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when he got inducted, I personally have worked with. You understand? So that makes me keep going with this, but brother, it is hard to see some lame get a bunch of shit and he ain't done nothing.
Maybe that's the ultimate test of the artist.
Correct.
There's so much. It's so hard, and all the people I talk to, no one ever says it's easy. Even people that make it look easy, they never say it's easy.
Yeah, it's never been easy, but it's damn near impossible this day and age. Yeah, it's hard.
So, and then you get that extra kind of challenge to your will, where you did put in all that time.
Like I say, it pays off, man. Just 3 weeks ago, I'm sitting for 2 hours chopping it up with Ice T. I'm in the same room. We're just having a full-blown conversation. He's telling me to invite me to his studio, in Jersey and all of that. It's a blessing, man. I look at what I've been able to do and the people I've been able to associate with. I was at, Razcast shot a video. He has Ice-T was in it, and it's produced by Havoc from Mobb Deep and Method Man, Fame from MOP, and I'm in the video. So, and it cool. Puts you in a world. I've earned it though. I earned it. To get a call from somebody and be like, hey, I'm going to show up. We need you out here. I want you. It's a good feeling because I didn't sell out. And I've had some serious opportunities, man. I mean, I'm being asked right now to do some things that I would, it would make me quite a bit of money, and I've got to think on it. It's just the way the game is going. They want me to do some things I usually don't do. I have the ability, so I'm doing it. But some of the other stuff, I don't know about doing entire albums, but it's going to get my name out there even more if I choose to do this.
Yeah.
And it's not the direction I expected.
Well, I guess there's the question of playing the long game versus the short game, Do you want to get in on, like you said, cash in, or do you want to stay true to your beliefs and your values?
I see what cashing in has done to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody has respect for Laffy Taffy. Nobody.
Yeah.
It was a cool little gimmicky song when it came out, when D4L put out Laffy Taffy. Burn, 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 burn. It sounded like they made it on a Casio keyboard. Made a lot of money though. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records as the #1 ringtone when it came out.
No way, that's funny.
But my God, I'll be honest, like, man, I wouldn't tell somebody I made that shit.
That's a harder thing, right? To really stay true to something, to stay true to, and to keep a reputation. You mentioned it earlier, a resume. You weren't literally talking about a piece of paper here. You're talking about, what you represent and what your values are.
I just did a joint not that long, a couple months back, just with Kool G Rap. You think G Rap is gonna want to hear me, me making some fly by night to one of the greatest MCs of all time? Like he wants me to, I come up with some fly by night, made in an hour beat. It wouldn't happen. You know, I mean, you know, he doesn't like to be seen a lot. He does a lot of live performances. Like he has one with my man Domingo. You know, guy he produced for all that Big Pun stuff and Fat Joe. He's got a show out in PA with Rakim and G Rap coming up. He does a lot of shows. But other than that, you don't see G Rap doing a lot of videos, a lot of collabs like that. And I've got one.
They're very selective. That's cool. Well, that's a testament to you then, right?
I mean, it has to be. You can't be like, okay, well, Large Professor, P Rock, DJ Premier, Knots, DR period, Ninth Wonder, and then Amadeus. It don't work like that, man. That how you getting in this lineup? These people have had the best producer, Jay Dilla. You understand, Jay Dilla? Why would you pick Amadeus? For what? For what? You're only ruining your reputation.
Right.
So, I have to come with it when I come with it.
That's a very wise takeaway, because it can be tempting to take the quick, easy fix at the sake of compromising those things. But you got to look at the big picture, the thing you're really building, the work, the overall, compilation of your art, which is more than just one track that maybe might be a fast train somewhere, That's really awesome, man. Hey, so your record is coming out the 12th of May. So this will probably be going out just around then. So the MPC Jedi. I love the title, and the art is really cool. You got you with the lightsaber and the I guess that's a machine you got in your arm there.
Yeah.
Looks nice, fun. And I think it's captures what you're going for here, and lots of different styles and sounds on the record. I wish you the best with it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time, and we'll say thank you to everyone for listening. Anything else before we go? Any place you want to send people?
Yeah, you can follow me on the gram, Amadeus360, the B King, on Instagram. See what I'm working on. I got a bunch of other stuff. I got another one coming out with Razkaz, and he's got a new album coming out. And we got Tretch from Naughty by Nature on it. Nice. On the track. I'm always doing something, man. So
yeah, you're working right now.
Yeah, follow me on the gram though. Keep up. I got a new video, new Black Moon, Buckshot Warfare video. We put out. It's produced by me, Buckshot, and Evil D does the scratch hook with terminology. I just dropped a video the other day. It's MOP, Still World Famous. MOP produced by me. It's going to be on the project, the album, and we have an incredible video for that. But yeah, just pre-order the album. Amadeus360, the MPC Jedi. You just Google that, Amadeus360, the MPC Jedi pre-order, and it comes up. You'll see it.
Yeah, I'll get that stuff in the show notes too, so people can just click through and get right to it.
A lot of features on it. Got a lot of people, Tech from Smith & Wesson, Tragedy, Gaddafi, Master Ace, Craig G, Elder Sensei, several MOP joints. A lot of people on there. Nims, my up-and-coming artists, a lot of buzz, Lil D from Coney Island, young boy. A lot of people checking for him. He's got a huge following. So a lot of people on the album, though. Yeah, put a lot of work in.
Nice. You can hear it. It comes through. So cool, man. Thank you. And thank you to everyone listening. Enjoy the day.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, if you enjoyed the Music Production Podcast, please consider giving it a review on your favorite podcast provider and share it with a friend, somebody that you think might enjoy the show and get something out of it. That would mean a lot to me. And if you want to check out more of my work, including sound packs, tutorials, etc., head over to brianfunk.com. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.